The natural way to go about in the direction of visual arts is to see things before touching the paper or the pencil, to study things visually only. First, you look and you stay with impressions. When we are studying perspective, we are looking. It's a visual effect. Things away look smaller, lower chroma. There are things that you can compare and contrast visually without having to draw or worry about the tools yet. To study how forms behave in space, depending on the distance and in relationship to other things, all that can be learned and practiced without having to draw first. Before you see more intricate things, first you have to see bigger, simple things. If we keep observing, we get more information out of this kind of passive type of learning. There is a moment that we want to transition from that experience of observing into making it. That comes very early, and sometimes it's good even to hold it a little bit and keep studying just visually. Then, when we start to take action, to start the mark making process, the painting, the drawing, we start with the design. For me, to design, which is to draw, is to design the overall movement of the whole gesture, of the perspective, the things that I experience visually, because we cannot just isolate with our vision one thing. We might be able to focus on one thing at a time, but we cannot take things away from their environment. We are constantly looking at a whole thing. We see things behind other things and interacting with color. It's a lot of waves. I mean, it's life. When I start designing this and interpreting this and translating this effect onto two-dimensional space, I do react almost as I was when I was living it. Finding tension points, connecting everything through main elements, and that way the same work to draw, which is to design, evolve together. Then I go back to nature and study more things, because as I evolve with my painting, I keep referring back to effects and see what other effects can influence me. We are almost blind to things we haven't discovered yet, and the moment they reveal to us, we see it and then we become blind again. And that's a beautiful process that in painting it can evolve like this with many days, the progression of many experiences adding up into the same painting. And when I come back from looking at nature and effects again into the studio to add more information onto the painting, I can also use towards my advantage the development of many different types of art from many periods, all the art that was done in this sensitive manner that took an individual to see things from his own perspective and apply it with the tools in a beautiful way, or at least in a psychological way that grabs us. I'm sure we can find an individual voice by doing this combination of work, from conceptual, reason type of analysis of how things look only at an intellectual level, or then when we start practicing it, from what we have learned in terms of how to use the elements, to maybe studying some masters and grabbing things from different cultures and adding it onto you if we understand it and if we can arrange it in a way that expresses the feeling that we had inside to begin with. each experience, each painting has a new vibe, has a new direction, because it's going with the time period. We all live in one space at a time, and I think that becomes visible if we work with that rhythm, consulting reality, nature, the outside, and consulting also what we have inside already set to help us. It's a surprise for me every time I finish a painting with this type of rhythm, this type of mood. The painting tells me about that special time that happened. What is important for me is that I take this to the highest possible path. The forms and the distance and the space are interacting in a way that feels natural and appropriate for each proportion, and be aware how each proportion interacts with the whole.